Hey everyone, hi, this is Sanskriti. I am an illustrator based in Delhi, and this video is gonna be all about the tools I have, the kind of software I use, and everything related to my softwares and tools. So the only tool I use for digital art is my iPad, which is here with me, iPad Pro 2019, and I bought this 3 years back and it still works fine. It's perfect. So I also got this second gen pencil with this, and it works perfectly. And I bought this around 89,000, but now it is quite cheap. It's around 60 something. And about all the other softwares other than digital art, like Adobe softwares and everything, you can't access that full version on iPad. So for that I have recently bought another tool, which is here, my laptop, Legion 5 Pro. So for all the Adobe softwares I access it on my laptop. So these are the only two tools I use for my everything, like art, be it any graphics or my any project. So the applications I use is Procreate, which is for digital art. So I'm gonna answer all the FAQs about the Procreate, which you guys have asked in a lot of my Instagram polls. So I have all these questions on my phone, which I'm gonna answer now. So the first one is Procreate available on Windows? No, it is not. It is only available on iOS, and you can access it on iPad or iPhone. It is available on both, but on iPhone it is light version, so you can access it on iPhone if you are not comfortable enough to invest in iPad at this point of time. So you can also use it on your phone. And there are a lot of other alternatives if you are using Windows, like Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, Canva, Fresco, and there's two to three more softwares if you want to use on Windows. So there's good balance of digital softwares available for both iOS and Windows. For iOS, if you don't want to use it Procreate, you can also use free softwares like Medibank, and there's Canva. So there's a lot of softwares, but I think Procreate is more easy to work with. So the second question I have is Procreate paid software? Yes, it is paid, and it is one-time payment. You don't have to subscribe it. You don't have to pay it monthly or yearly basis. It's just one-time payment, and it was quite reasonable. It was around $799, which I bought it when I bought it 2 years back, and it does not need any payment for updates or anything. So you just have to pay it once, and for payment you can use normal debit card, MasterCard or Visa card. It's pretty easy, so you can access it on iOS App Store. And for iPhone version, I think it is around 400 rupees, and you will get a lifetime of updates in that. You don't have to pay in any further stage. So that's it for the softwares. And the another question I have is about editing softwares I use. So all the videos edited you see on my page are edited by my editor, and he uses combination of three softwares, which is Photoshop, After Effects, and then Premiere Pro. So there's 3 softwares, and I'm not that familiar with video editing process, but I usually direct them, like how it's gonna start and everything related to the design process. But I'm really not that patient enough to go on with the editing part of it. So but I'm very eager to learn in near future, and let's see how that goes. But I'm still not prepared for it, and I'm gonna link his Instagram below if you want to check it out. All the videos are edited by him. And yeah, the next question I have is about all the other apps I used for learning and my art to create illustrations and everything. I am for now is in 2D illustrations and everything, but I am recently experimenting with Mental Canvas, which is a 3D software. So you can, which is also kind of 2D software, but a mix of 3D elements with all these perspectives and all these frames and graphs and everything. So that's very interesting, and I'm really fascinated by that software, so I'm also using that. About the research I have done and all those YouTube channels I have suggested, from where did I learn? I didn't refer to any YouTube link, to be honest. I wasn't subscribing to any YouTuber or Procreator who was working. I used to refer all these random videos on Instagram only, and I just experimented with the brushes on my own. I didn't watch any tutorial or didn't took any courses which helped me. It was mostly about my experimenting and just learning every day. So that was all about my learning part of it. It was all experimental. I didn't refer to any books or anything. So yeah, I'll tell you everything now about Procreate, like how you can take the canvas. I had these questions about DPI, like you guys are getting blurred DPI and it's very pixelated. So I'm gonna start my screen recording here, which will have all the brushes and everything. I'm gonna show it here. So this is Procreate, and you can take any size of canvas you want. It's all about the kind of project you are working on. So I usually take 7 by 12 inches with 500 dpi. I like to work in less layers because it's mostly quality for me, not layers. I am very comfortable enough to work in less layers now. So I use 500 around dpi, which is a pretty good resolution for anything. If you want it for printing or reels or Instagram or any other social media, it's pretty good. So try to use dpi more than 300. 300 is like pretty basic, which will give you like decent amount of pixelization, but I use it around 450 or 500. Like that's the best quality for me. And I do all my work in RGB, and if I want to print the work, like for the clients who want hard copy invites, for that I use CMYK generic profile, no other variations, just common generic CMYK profile. Otherwise, if I'm making post or all the works for clients for like digital versions, I use it RGB. So that's the basic composition of my canvas. So you can create it from here, and this is the pretty basic layout which they have. These are my brushes. So okay, so for brushes, it's all about how you are experimenting. It's all about how curious are you to go through all the brushes and everything. If suppose you are doing in background which has trees textures and all these bark and sand, soil, so it has all those folders. It's default brushes, set of brushes. I haven't downloaded much. I have few brushes which I have downloaded from Google, but mostly are from default Procreate version only. So after all these years, 2 to 3 years, I have been working on it. So I have kind of collected few brushes in like one folder, which is my go-to brushes. So lot of brushes. So I have collected all these brushes in one folder, which is quite accessible and easily available for me. So if I'm working on a project, I know that this brush is available in this folder. So I have kind of collected from all these sets, and it has all the kind of textures you want, abstract textures, spray paints, everything is readily available. But I have certainly downloaded few of them, like all these fire and watercolor, which is my favorite, and then water. So I have downloaded for quite few of them from Google. There's no particular site I can refer, but I have just downloaded what was free available on Procreate website only. So yeah, these are my go-to brushes which I use on daily basis. So there's this one wet acrylic which is my favorite, my personal favorite. I've been working with this brush on my every artwork. If I have to just make one artwork with the use of one brush, that will be a wet acrylic. And there's a list you can explore. You can just collect your kind of brushes. So yeah, that's about brush. And then there's smudge tool, which you can use to mix colors and smudge everything. So it's basically about smudging and mixing, and while you are shading, so that's very helpful. And then there's eraser, layers obviously, color palette. So color palette is usually everyone select colors as per their choice, but if you are not aware of that much, so it also has option about all these color schemes here. If you want to go for complementary color schemes, split complementary, analogous, everything, it's available. So if you don't have that much of knowledge, you can just drag it around here and you will know what kind of colors will go with it. So it has inbuilt feature. And then there's value, if you want to just put the code. If you're working from Photoshop and you had the certain kind of color you want to use, so you can just put its code here. And there's this palette option where if you're not sure about what kind of artwork do you want to work with, so suppose you have this vintage picture which you want to use, so you can just add the picture from here, from new, and its color palette will be here. So that's pretty nice feature. It came last year only, I think, in last update. So yeah, this is all about colors. Then there's option about exporting. Yeah, there's this one question which all of you ask very frequently, that what kind of format do I export in to send out to my clients. So it's mostly PNG only, none other than PNG, and sometimes JPEG as well if it's not that if they want to just upload it on Instagram or anything, so JPEG is also nice. But if they want to print it, it's mostly PNG. And what else? Then there's a hue, saturation and brightness option. All these options which will be very helpful for you if you just explore it on your own. And if you want to go with like one option every day, it will be like 15 to 10 days course only. You will learn everything on your own. If you have any doubts, you can just refer to various YouTubers who are making videos on Procreate. But it's pretty basic. If I am not sure, sometimes even I am not sure what kind of color palette I want to use, so I just go with my instinct. Suppose I want to put my background blue, and I've did the blue, but I am not liking that color, or it's not going with the theme and everything. So I have this option where you can just play with the hue which is going as per the whole project. Obviously I have this canvas empty here now, but when I'm working with certain things, I like to play around with this option, which is quite helpful. And yeah, there's pretty basic option which all of the softwares has, like blur, motion blur, noise, sharpen, bloom, glitch, everything as per your aesthetics and everything. And then there's selection option, where if you want to select a part with like freehand, you can just do it like this and then just cut paste it or copy paste it. That's how it's done. Other than that, we have automatic as well, which selects the color on its own. So you can just drag it out and it will select. So there's a lot of options. Obviously I can't explain everything at this point, but that's like gist of the whole thing. And then there's a selection, move selection option, which you can use. So this is pretty much basic information about the Procreate. So it's pretty easy if you can just work on yourself every day, and it will be very helpful and it will be very easy. Trust me, it's very easy. I didn't do any course or anything. It was just all my practice and my experimenting. And I'm gonna move on to next question, which is how to use certain kind of brushes and what are the features. So every brush has different options. So once you click on the brush, it will have like certain all these options. So if you want your stroke to be very smooth, a lot of people asked how your strokes are very smooth. Most of it is about practice, but there's also an inbuilt feature which is called streamline. So if you go in stabilization, there will be an option called streamline, where you can just increase its amount to 100% and your stroke will be smooth as fine. So that's pretty easy. You can do it with every brush. So just stabilization full, and then this brush can move smoothly. And if the stabilization is 0, it will be pretty much rough. So that's up to you, how do you want to work. So all these brushes have their inbuilt features. If you want to edit it, if you want to taper it, if you want to add grain, there's a lot of options if you want to make your own set of brushes. So it's all about your experimentation and your curiosity. Brushes. Okay, so the next question I have is my favorite brush. That's wet acrylic for me. And from where do I download brushes? There's no particular site. I just downloaded from Procreate online website. About fonts, I mostly use inbuilt fonts, but I have quite downloaded fonts here, which I'll show you. Like this Gabriel which is Friends wala font, and there's a lot of fonts. So for fonts, I refer to this website called The Font, DAFONT. So you can refer to that. So it has all kinds of textures and everything, all the kinds of fonts you need. About color palette tips, so for that you need to just experiment with your kind of aesthetics and then just go on to play with the hues and saturation and brightness. That's the only tip I want to give you about the color palette thing. So that's how I come up with color palette, but it's mostly about my instinct only, like what kind of project the client wants, if they want it to be like pastels or they want it to be bright. So it's all about my instincts only mostly. But if you want to play around, if you're not sure about something, so there's an option, you can totally check it out. It's very helpful. And I think, yeah, most of them are repeated only. So we'll close the video here only, and let me know if there's any missing, or do you want me to add on, if anything, just put it down in comments, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much. And you know what to do next. Like this video, comment down what you want to see next, and share with your family, friends, everyone, and subscribe to my channel. Closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.